Good afternoon. We have just concluded the first hearing of the House Republican Economic Recovery Working Group. This was a group put together by Leader John Boehner that was in response to a request from the President-elect. When John Boehner and I met with the President-elect last week, the President-elect said that he would like and welcome our ideas of how we think a stimulus package should look, and we are well on the path to making sure that that happens. Today we heard some insightful remarks and advice from several panelists, and we will be taking those ideas and forwarding them to the President-elect in hopes of a meeting with him after the inaugural so that we can deliver on the expectation that he has that Washington will finally begin to work together to solve the problem of this terrible, terrible economic turmoil. Two of our panelists are here with me today, along with some of the members of the working group. The first is Governor Mitt Romney, who I would like to call upon to make just a few remarks. And the next is the former CEO of eBay, Meg Whitman, and she will also make some remarks.
Thank you, Congressman Cantor and members of the working group, and my friend Meg Whitman. It's good to be here with you. American people are hurting right now. They're concerned about today, and they're even more concerned about tomorrow. And that's why it's so important that we work together with the President-elect to fashion a series of policies that will strengthen our economy and create jobs and give people the kind of confidence in the future which they want to have and which they deserve. For that to be the case, we have to have a stimulus package which actually stimulates the economy and doesn't, in the name of stimulus, simply expand government and cause greater debt and cause greater taxes down the road. The best way to stimulate an economy is to encourage long-term investment by businesses and new job creation. And that happens as tax rates are reduced and also as massive, extraordinary debt and financial obligations of the federal government are brought in line. So there's work to be done. I'm happy to be able to have offered my advice to members of the working group. I appreciate the willingness of the President-elect to solicit the input of our party, and we're going to work very hard to make sure that the bill that comes forward actually does what it's supposed to do, which is to stimulate the economy, create jobs, and help the American people. Meg Whitman, former CEO of eBay and a wonderful friend.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, thanks to Leader Boehner, thanks to Congressman Cantor, we were delighted to be asked, to input on this most important issue. I think, both Mitt and I were just thrilled to be able to be here and provide our perspective. Particularly, I think I am the voice in many ways of small business. eBay, as you know, employs 1.3 million people who make most, if not all, of their living selling on eBay. So I know small business well. And the counsel that I gave was really threefold. First is we have to focus, the number one criteria must be on sustainable job creation. In some ways, the most important metric of the economy can be how fast we can turn unemployment rate to go down instead of up. The second thing is, are the parts of the stimulus plan focused on the middle class and hardworking Americans? That is the target group that needs the most help. And then third, the elements of the stimulus plan, we have to spend other people's money like it's our own. And I really appreciated the working group saying it's important that we are very judicious in how the stimulus money is spent. Is it being spent wisely and efficiently? So that was the counsel I gave. We had a great discussion, lots of participation by members of the working group, and again, we were very happy to be asked, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Also here with me are two members of the working group, and I think our conference would unanimously say some of the brightest minds in our conference. We have the Chief Deputy Whip here with us, Kevin McCarthy from California, and Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, who, as you know, is a ranking member on the Budget Committee here in the House. And they are here also to respond to any questions that you may have. Questions?
How confident are you that the majority is going to consider your ideas? The bill's already being written.
Well, I will say this, going back to our meeting with President-elect Obama, I take him at his word that he is serious in wanting to work together. This problem affects all Americans, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, left-wing, right-wing, East Coast, West Coast. So I do believe that we can work together, and that's why we are going to present our ideas to him very shortly.
Mr. Cantor, what is very shortly? Are you talking about after he's inaugurated? it before, this week, next week?
Well, there have been ongoing discussions, Molly, with this administration, this incoming administration, about our ideas. We and they know we're expected to present to them our ideas and hopefully seek a meeting with them and with the president-elect after he is inaugurated.
I know you have to go through and scrub what Democrats have started to put out this morning, and I guess we'll put out the formal bill later today. But I mean, is there something in there that jumps off the page of what you've seen so far and says, hey, we like this, or this is just the wrong way to go so far? I'm
going to let Ranking Member Ryan speak to that.
At first blush, it looks like it's too heavy on spending and too little on getting businesses to retain and keep new permanent jobs. We want to make sure that the package actually creates permanent jobs in this economy and doesn't create temporary make-work jobs that go away as soon as the government spending maybe goes away. So we want to scrub this bill. There are some incentives for job creation in here that we've read about, but we would like to see the details. We want to keep an open mind, and we believe if we work together and get the best possible policies, we can actually help shorten the duration of this recession. We're concerned about repeating mistakes of the past by ours and other countries, that you cannot spend your way into prosperity. And so we're concerned that this bill is too heavily emphasized on just more government spending, that is not going to keep and create the kind of prosperity we need.
But by the same token,
$275 billion outline on.
We have to look at the details of that. We haven't even had a meeting in Ways and Means on that yet. So we've heard the number $275 billion. That's about a third of the package, but we want to see how that's disaggregated. A big part of this looks like it's rebate checks. We've tried rebate checks in the past. Many of us supported rebate checks with an open mind in the past, and we learned they didn't work. And so we want to make sure that if we're going to commit taxpayer dollars, if we're going to do tax policy, it's policy that actually works to create jobs and doesn't just give us 1 or 2 quarters worth of a pop, but new job creation. And so we want to look at the details, but if it's heavy on rebate checks, our fear is that it will repeat the same mistake of the past, which is not to work.
Mr. Cantor, if the package remains as is, about the same amount for tax cuts and for spending, do you anticipate that there will be much Republican support for this package?
First of all, I think it's too early for us to cast any judgment right now. We haven't seen any of the details. As Paul said, our Ways and Means Committee hasn't even begun the process of deliberating on the bill. And I think the question really starts in the wrong place. The question should be exactly what the governor and Ms. Whitman said. We should be focused on the creation, preservation, and protection of jobs, long-term jobs in this country. So that if there is a package that has some combination that does exactly that, and also preserves the integrity of the Congress's role in terms of spending taxpayer dollars. Because right now what we have is a severe lack of confidence on the part of the American people that Washington can get anything right. So some of what we heard in the hearing today had to do with accountability. When I met with the president-elect last week, I suggested that he put online immediately every bit of spending that he was contemplating so that the American people could see that. There was no better vetting process that could take place to help this Congress function properly.
Mr. Cantor, do you think that the Democrats are speaking with one voice here? Obama seems to be telling you one thing, and the House Democrats have gone ahead and introduced their chairman's mark of what they want in the bill.
Well, I think this is exactly where we can play a role, because the president-elect has certainly reached out to us as far as advocating putting more money back into the pockets of those who not only spend it but invest it, create incentives for long-term investment and job creation. That is music to our ears as House Republicans. So clearly, we are on that page with the president-elect. But as far as our colleagues here on the Hill, on the other side of the aisle, we'll have to wait to see how they respond to that and what exactly is in their tax package.
What about the size of the package? I know you've got concerns about the deficit. The package has grown to $835 million. That's with the billion. That's without the aid of cash, which I know some number of people want. And things tend to go up as opposed to going down in the process. Do you have concerns about the size of this?
Absolutely, we've got concerns. When you're already talking over $1 trillion deficit and the level of long-term debt in this country can begin to erode not only the prospects for the future, but the confidence that global investment community has in the United States' ability to handle this debt. So we are concerned about that. And again, as Ms. Whitman said, we want to be looking at long-term job growth. We want to be providing the ability for unemployment to come down and put people back to work. Paul?
In addition to concerns about the size of the package, it's the quality of the package. And if this package consists of the wrong policies that evidence shows doesn't create jobs, and it's a very large package, our concern is that that could lead to much higher taxes in the short term, which will hurt our economy. The Congressional Budget Office is telling us we're going to have high unemployment in this country for 4 years. And so we want to make sure that what we do creates permanent, lasting jobs and doesn't create a situation where we're raising taxes in 2 years at a time where we know we're still going to have high unemployment. At least that's what our budget experts are telling us.
All right, thank you.